Ayy, lighting it up like a hallway. Tell them get ready to party. Beast mode, break out the cage. I'm killing the game in the 7th.
Hey, welcome to the Search Labs podcast. Today we're doing Ask Me Anything, and my guest today is Christie Friday. She's a pretty big deal at a major media company. Christie, I'm glad to have you here.
Well, thank you so much. Are you sure it's Ask You Anything? Because that could be very dangerous.
You know, I'm an open book, so I mean, like, whatever you want. I mean, you know, I don't like long walks on the beach. I hate sand getting it everywhere, stuff like that.
Well, we know you hate fishing, so.
I love fishing. I mean, you can see, like, clearly, you know, I'm ready to go. I mean, after this, you know, I'm just ready to go. We can hop on the boat.
Well, I want to ask you some questions about fishing because, you know, I think the one thing from entrepreneurs' perspective, everybody wants to know, you know, advertising works, but what part, right? So how do you go fishing for the right leads? You can get people to make the phone ring, but is it the right kind of person? So if you had a person that was starting their business, what would you say are the top 3 things they need to look out for when they're like creating their business to not screw it up?
So when you go fishing, you can't just like go to Walmart and pick up like a Zebco and be like, I think these baits are right. I'm gonna use this, and we're just gonna see what happens, because you're setting up for success. You don't know what works, you know, what doesn't work. That guy that is in the aisle is not a fishing expert. He's a Walmart employee. And I mean, like, the main thing you need to do is sit down and make a plan. You need to write down, you know, your business objectives, your business goals, and then you need to take those objectives and goals and turn them into marketing objectives and marketing goals. Because the whole way that you get your business out there and get it known for what you do is by using marketing. So if you don't have marketing objectives, marketing goals, it's kind of hard to hit your business objectives and your business goals. Right. So what you need to do is find somebody that you trust, that knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Once again, I mean, you know, you got to trust them, know what they're doing, have proven success, you know, have helped other businesses. And sit down and be like, hey, can I go over this with you? I want to make sure that I'm starting off on the right foot. Mm-hmm. And we do that all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, I tell people, most important thing, number 1, get a business profile listing. Number 1, it's free. Number 2, it helps you stand out on Google. And number 3, Google's like, oh, you're using our products, we're going to
give you some love.
So, and then number 2, website. Not a Facebook. Like, Facebook's good, but like
an actual standalone website.
Yeah, I hate when I talk to people.
That's
I'm
not
like, do
a
y'all have a
website?
website? And yeah, we're not even going to go there. But I hate when I'm be like, do y'all have a website? No, we have a Facebook. That's not a website. That's a social media listing. So website, and then number 4, a plan how to get yourself out there. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it be social, paid social, SEO, paid search. You know, there's a whole list of things that you can do. And depending on your business and what your first goal should be branding and awareness.
Right.
So you don't want to go all into everything.
Right. Stages.
And I make money from those things, but I'm telling you, you don't need to do everything all at once if you're just starting out.
Right.
Because you need to gradually gain authority, expertise. You know, here's who we are. Here's what we do. Branding and awareness.
Yeah.
After you get that down and you're like, okay, so this works, you know, this doesn't, let's put some more money over here. Then you need to work on like increased brand consideration. Okay, they know who you are. They know what you do. Why should they use you over XYZ? Or what is your value proposition? Mm-hmm. You know, what makes you different, stand out, exceptional?
And don't say honest customer service.
Yeah, I can't. I could show you websites where like their biggest message is like outstanding customer service. I'm like, well, that's not good because that means you've done it a lot, so you've had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing
I
to
know,
say.
right? I know.
If you're
Drives me
doing
nuts.
that, stop. Call a professional. Help you. Anyways,
I want
but-
to talk about websites for a second because you hit that on the head. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it where somebody comes to me and they go, "Hey, here's my name, but will you get my website for me?" And they didn't even think to go to Google and type that word in. Yes, it might be available with the state, but you need to make sure that the name you choose is actual viable website, right? Do you see that a lot?
I can't tell you how many times
It's such
people
a
are like,
problem.
I would like to buy this domain.
It's $95,000.
Do you know like how many domains are out there?
That are
Like
free.
the chances that like you're gonna get one. I just happened to get lucky and I typed in the searchlabs.com. It's like, would you like the searchlabs.com, .net, and .org? I was like, purchase, let's go. Add to cart,
Yes.
check out.
Okay, here's something I've always wondered. So I heard back in the day that if you have a name of a business that you want to create, to not go into GoDaddy and search for it, because if it's available and you don't buy it then people can see your searches and go after it and buy it and then resell it to you. Is that an immediate thing? Is that
I've
a
never
deal?
heard of that.
Really? I've heard it several times. It's kind of like when you go check an airfare and then you go back to see if it's going to be cheaper. It never is. They know you in, and so now it's going to be $50 more expensive and $50 more expensive from the algorithm.
Every domain I buy is like 1 cent a month for the first year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of times I just buy them.
So you're
also,
sitting on them.
you can also go to like put it in incognito mode and go.
Just in case it does matter.
Yeah, or just use a different browser. If you're using Firefox, use Chrome
Yeah.
later. Don't ever use Safari.
Okay, so sorry I went
But-
down that rabbit hole. Okay, what would you say is another big mistake people make when they're launching advertising in terms of name or business, anything like that?
I love when people argue with me and I'm like, here's what you need to market to. And they're like, I don't like that. It doesn't matter what you like. I don't watch the Dallas Cowboys. Nothing against the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't watch NFL because my dad didn't. I watch college. Watch every single college game. I don't watch NFL.
I'm glad you
But
clarified that for all
people-
the Cowboys fans out there. You'll get some hate.
Yes. It's not, don't like, don't dislike, just don't care about NFL. I slept during the Super Bowl. Like, dead serious this year. Did not watch it a second. I took a nap. Anyways, my wife watches NFL. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. Okay, so in Northeast Texas, where my agency is, people watch the Cowboys whether they're winning or whether they're losing. It
Yes.
does not matter. So if you're trying to reach a huge audience, buy the Cowboys on TV. You're going to reach a whole bunch of people. I don't care if you're like a bandwagon Patrick Mahomes fan, you like the Chiefs now, even though you've been a Cowboys fan your whole life.
Or a Swiftie.
Anyways, that's something people are going to watch.
Right.
Wheel of Fortune. People watch that. It doesn't matter what you like because chances are if you like it, the people in those circles already know you and know what your
Right.
business is, stuff like that. You need to reach people that are not in your immediate circle because you know what? The people in your immediate circle honestly are probably tired of hearing about it. My wife hates when I get on like a rant about like search and I just get like, or I get like real pumped up about something. My wife hates it because she hears it all the time.
Right.
So like I would not market to her, but like maybe she has a friend that's a business owner.
Right.
What does she do? Does she hang out with other business owners? Like where am I not being saturated?
Right.
Where is there chances and opportunities and stuff like that? So it's not about you.
Right.
It's about getting people to you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? You go outside of like your comfort zone and where you are to reach people that don't know about you because guess what? The people that know you already know you.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. It's free marketing because guess what? You don't have to market. You do it when you're talking to them. So
Word of mouth, best kind.
So whether you like it or not, you need to reach out to those places.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would say that's honestly the biggest thing. I hear it all the time.
I do too.
So
I'm on Channel 8 because my wife's in the ads and she likes to see herself on TV. And we're like, you're not even, Channel 8's not even your station. You should be buying this other station. So, yeah, and car guys are the worst for that too. They just want to be on the ticket because that's what they listen to, even if it's for a car, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's,
cool.
and I mean, also, like, think about where you're placing, because when you buy TV, and, like, I realize this, I do digital, but I have worked at a full-service agency. When you buy TV, it's kind of like when you buy, like, placement on websites. Like, if you're, like, selling cars, a carbon footprint, website is not where you want to place your ad.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to place it on a show that's, like, giving car reviews. What you want to do is place it on something that's neutral, that people are just going to casually see, like the 5 o'clock news, 10 o'clock news, Fringe, Prime, something like that, where it just, like, comes on. You don't want to, like, it's more important to look at where you don't want it than where you do want it, because it's a car ad. I mean, there's car ads all the time,
Right.
but you don't want to run it along with something that's going to position you negatively, or anything political or anything like that. You want something, like, bland, and because you want your car to, like, explode out of there.
Makes sense. So now that we're on the subject of linear and television, talk to me a little bit about, how do you see the relationship from someone that doesn't have any branding and they just start on pay-per-click versus somebody that may have done linear TV and then they're doing pay-per-click? Do you see the relationship of the linear and the PPC working better together? Or can you just have a standalone PPC campaign without people knowing who you are?
Can I run in one, or, like,
The normal person. I know you can do
I mean, I'm
anything.
just saying, like, yes, always. It works better when you have additional stuff, because here's the thing. Paid search, its basis is keywords, so people have to be searching for it. If there's no branding and no awareness, people aren't searching for it.
Right.
So what you want is, like, and I see this a lot with TikTok lately, because they're like, all these studies coming out that say, 41% of people are, looking at TikTok. Fantastic. You know why? They look at it, see it on TikTok. I'm going to go search it on Google.
On Google, right. Yep.
So, yeah, if people are seeing a commercial during a commercial break, so they're not engaged in the show, yeah, I want them to type into Google right there on their phone.
Right.
And that's where I'm going to capture them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they don't convert them because their show comes back on, but guess what? When they open their phone later at the next commercial break, what's it open to? What they were doing. So they continue their journey. People think pay-per-click is all about right now, buy. And it's not. Everybody has a different consumer journey. I mean, like, a lot of stuff we do with paid search is like, let's teach them. What stage are they in? Based on their searches, what stage are these people in? Do they know anything? They're trying,
Do you tailor the keywords to where they are in the consideration set? So
I tailor the audience and targeting. I like to get a lot of data and put notes in it, like, hey, let's look at these in 7 days, see what's going on. And, like, I can use Google Analytics and, like, Clarity to see, okay, people that are typing this, they usually go to these pages. These are, like, main pages, like, informational. They're not diving deep. People that are diving deep could be researching, planning. They're closer to the buying stage. So I say, okay, these people, here's what their demographics are. Here's the times they're usually active. Let's make an audience and say, if you fall into this, let's test and see if most of these people are in the branding and awareness. And then who's in consideration? Who's in take action? Who's already bought and coming back for trust and loyalty?
So, like, just to use an auto example, because, $1 in $3 is spent in automotive for from an advertising perspective. So if you were looking at keywords for a tier 3 automotive dealer, and let's say they're in the beginning of the funnel, right? They're in the consideration phase. Would it be so sophisticated to say best SUVs with a third row and have it be, more about the model and like native articles there? And then if they say best price on a Chevy Tahoe, then you serve an offer? Do you serve different call to actions based on where they are in the consideration funnel and the keyword choice?
100%.
Okay.
So
I feel like a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are terrible.
That's
So
that's true.
when somebody says, what is the price, you should never put in an ad. Okay? The ad, paid search is pay-per-click. You only pay for the ads you click on. You want to entice them to go to your website. Once they're on the website, have them land on something like build your Tahoe. Oh, here's what I want. At the end of it, type in your email, type in your phone number to get your price. They type it in. They give you a price, and they have your contact information so you can follow up.
Yeah.
The whole point of a website, and this is, if the only thing you listen to is this is the most important thing. When people go to your website, you do not want to give everything away. You want to give them enough to where they want to reach out and contact you. Because guess what? If you give them everything they need to know, they don't need to call you.
Well, and especially if you don't have the phone number on the website, right?
I don't even want to get started on that, but yeah, but I mean, you want them to reach out,
right?
To call you, to ask questions. There should always be a call to action visible wherever you are on the website. If you're at the top, if you're at the middle, and the bottom, there should always be an easy way to get into contact with you, whether it's, schedule an appointment, fill out a form, phone number that's clickable, that calls.
Yeah.
Don't put a phone number on there that you can't click on.
Oh my God, that drives me nuts.
I know.
And people do it all the time.
It takes 5 characters.
It's a problem.
7
I would say
clicks.
probably more than 50% of the websites that I go to of different clients that I've had don't have click to call. And it's it drives me bonkers.
My favorite time I went to go see a client, he goes, why am I not getting calls? I'm glad you brought that up. Let's look at your website. Okay. Find a phone number on your website. Don't worry, I'll wait.
That's why I said that. You told me that story.
Why you're not getting calls.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes people are so close to it. Another thing I see a lot is I'm not getting any leads. Well, where are your forms going? Oh, it's to an email you've never checked. Here's your 45 leads in this email that's going nowhere. So I think lead testing, that's always a big thing.
You got to
right?
test everything. I mean, we
Right.
test constantly. There's always some test running because it can
And
always be
something
better.
can break, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And you might not even know. But if you're like, oh, I'm not getting form submissions, maybe you should see
Test it.
what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I tested stuff this morning. I tested stuff yesterday. I mean, but no, I mean, it's just the average business owner, media person, stuff like that. This isn't stuff they take into consideration because it's not what they do every day. And It's not their
Right.
fault. And I think
Don't
the
know
thing
what
that,
you don't know.
I think that holds them up a lot is when I talk to them, I'm I always ask everybody, what's your CPA? What's your cost per acquisition? How much does it cost for you? I have no idea. Okay, I'm going to help you find that out. A lot of what I run into is hey, I want to get people going to your website. You need to do SEO. You need to do paid search to get people to your website. Well, we're not getting anything from our website. We never have.
That's a problem.
I know that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Right.
I'm trying to show you how we can do this where guess what? You don't have to go out and work so many leads. You can focus on what you do best. And what do you do best? You run this business. You're the idea. You're the face behind it. It's your business. You should be running your business.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get leads for you, get sales for you, whatever you want to do.
Right.
Let me do that for you because that's what I'm best at.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to say it's pretty confusing. You got SEO and SEM and PPC and, all of these different code word keywords. And I think, I've seen a lot over the years. There's a lot of people that take advantage of that, right? Because they don't know. And then with SEO, you know, it's like, oh, it's going to take 90 days. Oh, at 90 days. Oh, it's going to take 90 more days. So they've got 6 months of somebody's money and they haven't done anything with it. What would you say if somebody was going to be interviewing someone to do SEO and do their website? What questions should they ask so they don't get taken advantage of? How do you wait out the bullshit?
What is your plan? Based on my website, my business that you should have asked me about in our first meeting, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? What have you done so far? What are you doing? If they haven't asked you those questions, don't have a second meeting. They need to like know everything.
Right.
When we met the other day, I gave you 5 pages. Like, I need the answers to these to make a plan, because like, if they don't know that, they can't make a plan that's effective, number one. Number two, if they say, oh, I can get you to the top of Google, your next question should be, for what? Because I can't tell you how many people be like, I can get you to the top of Google. For what terms?
Right.
You know, do you own a lawn business? Maybe mowing, weed control, you know, green grass, you know, stuff about your business. Because here's the thing, I can get anybody to the top of Google with their name. Chances are they're already there.
Right.
Getting them to the top of Google with their name does nothing for you, because
Right.
if people are searching your name, they already know who you are.
Right.
It's a complete waste of money. Like I said at the beginning, set up a Google My Business. When people type in that name and the Google My Business right there,
They go straight to
Free.
the listing page.
so like, waste of money. So just ask, like, what's your plan? You can give me the top of Google, great, for what? Ask them questions that are not yes or no, like you want them to expand, because you want to know, is this a plan? And honestly, I mean,
What if they're like, oh, well, this is SEO, and they start talking a bunch of jargon that you don't understand? Is there items that, or ways for you to know they're full of BS?
if they're talking to you like that and you don't understand it, ask questions, and if they don't explain it, don't use them.
Okay. Do you ever, what about asking for referrals or case studies? Like, what, if somebody's not going to show you examples of maybe non-competing businesses with ROI-driven reporting, is that kind of a red flag, or is that not something you share all the time?
If people ask for it, I share it. I don't openly share it most of the time. It's case by case. I have no problem showing what I've done from clients.
Mm-hmm.
No issue. I will show them ones I've done very well on. I'll show them ones that I did okay on. And I even tell some of my clients, there is one person that I've had to give their money back to because I could not do it for them. And I have coffee with him once a month.
That was gonna be my list of questions.
And he's like sent me business because like I sat him down. I said, let's look at this together. Here's what's going on. You know, you should be showing for this. I mean, I ran through.
Was it a niche category, or what was? Couldn't you make it work?
It was voice over IP. And Google Voice had just came out.
Yeah.
So they're like,
Yeah.
He was the IT guy, so it was kind of easy for him to understand like what I was talking about. But I try to break it down as simple as possible. There are times where it might take me a couple months to like catch exactly what I want. But there's sometimes I can turn it on and catch it right then. So
That's crazy you gave their money back, though. I don't think I've ever heard of any
here's the thing.
marketing
If I
person
can't
giving money
do
back.
what you paid me to do,
Right.
I'm not going to take your money. Yeah, we have contracts and we have people sign this. You know, this is how long it's going to take, you know, stuff like that. But I'm not going to take your money if I can't do what I promised you that I would do.
That's awesome. That's unheard of. I mean, because you still have cost, right? Google's not free. And, you know, at least my understanding of SEO, and you're the expert, is the only way to really do SEO is research man hours. Like, there's no shortcuts, right? And so the people that I've seen that haven't been successful are these. It's $350 a month, and you're gonna get 7 keywords ranked number 1. I'm like, run, because $350 a month isn't gonna do anything. They're just gonna set them up in their set it and forget it land.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you got to change it. I mean, like, because like people's trends and what they're searching changes.
Yeah.
And you need to be like, okay, here's the people that are not ready to buy. let's send them to this page. You know, people that are like researching, send them to this page. People that are ready, let's just send them to the end. Hey, let's go.
Right.
You know? So set it and forget it doesn't work.
No.
Anybody can do Google Ads, but there's only certain people who excel at paid search. Anybody can do it. I mean, Google tells you, hey, let's do this.
You can watch a
But
couple
you know what they
YouTube
do?
videos.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, what people don't know is Google can spend 125% of your budget. So if your budget's $10 a day,
You're
and
gonna
like
be.
you get hit by a bus and you're in the hospital for a week, 7 days, 7 times 10, 70.
Right.
Extra 25% would be, what's the math on that?
Don't
85?
catch me. I got to use my
85?
phone
So, like,
calculator.
you know,
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and the geo being wrong. I've seen that where
there's so much.
there's
like,
so
into
many
it.
mistakes people make.
There's
can't
simple
even.
things that, like, when you're setting up a campaign, it says recommended, and honestly, it's not the best practice. You should 100% not click it. People don't know that stuff, you know? I mean, this is what I do.
Right.
This is what I've done for 8 years.
Yeah.
This is it. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
here to make people's businesses profitable
Mm-hmm.
and get ROI. And if I can't, I'm not going to take your money.
Right.
That's why when I talk to people, a lot of times, I might be like, you know what, we're not a good fit. Because, like, if I say, what's your why, and you say, to make money, I know we're not a good fit.
Yeah.
But if you say to help people, because making money should not be your why, that's a result.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
So,
That's cool. Okay, so back to the whole firing thing. What is like your biggest pet peeve about clients? Like, what can get them fired? Hold on, let me.
if you call me and you say, hey, what are you doing? Like, you know, why am I not showing up when I search my name or like I search my business? Honestly, it's probably because I blocked your IP address, because I was in there one day and I said, let's go to your website, and you typed in your name and clicked on that ad and cost yourself $3.52. So you know what I did when I got back to my office?
Whitelisted it, yeah.
I said, let's block this IP address because
Right.
I don't want people at your office spending money. That's why
Right.
you're not seeing it. Also, there's 68 ranking factors that go into it.
What?
There's 68 ranking factors that go into
There's
where it
that
ranks.
many? Wow.
That's honestly probably like low. That's what Google says. I guarantee you there's more.
Whoa.
But
So 68 different ways to screw up if you don't know what you're doing.
well, you shouldn't Google it yourself,
Right.
because like part of like your rank is determined on what we call expected click-through rate. Hang on, we're gonna get in the weeds here, okay? So your click-through rate is how many times your ad shows versus how many times it's clicked. Okay.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
So if it's shown 10 times and it's clicked once, your click-through rate is 10%. That's phenomenal. But if you keep on searching yourself and you're not clicking on it because you're like, oh, it cost me money, you search yourself 50 times and it's been clicked once.
Google's going to think, oh, nobody really wants that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And since expected click-through rate
And Google wants
is
to
one
make
of the
money.
huge factors,
Yeah.
not only is that going to cost more to show up higher,
Yeah.
it's not going to show up as often.
Let me ask you this. What's your philosophy on buying your own name?
It depends. Our competitors, lawyers, absolutely, 100%, because your competitors are buying your name.
Yes.
So you need to compete with them. Part of a ranking factor is ad relevance. So if your ad says, you know, Zach Terry, my name is Zach Terry, PLLC, I won't have to spend as much to show up because Google knows.
Right.
And then so I have a national client. They're very well known.
Mm-hmm.
And people just search the name of that company a lot. I don't spend a dime on there because I don't want to waste money on people who already know about it going to it.
Yeah, I used to work for a company called Drivers Select, and Drivers Select has 2 S's in the middle. And so we weren't buying our own name, and then come to find out another lending company created Google Ads and a website that was Driver Select without the extra S. And it said, driver, select the car of your dreams. And so our leads were going way down, and we're like, what the hell's going on? And then we Googled it, and this company was stealing all our leads. So
if your person running that doesn't tell you about who you're competing with, red flag.
yeah.
Every single week, I send out a report to every single one of my clients, and it shows where you are versus your competition. Top impression share, which would be like how often are you in the top 3 spots on the x-axis. On the y-axis, absolute top impression share. How often are you in the very top spot versus your competition?
That's really cool. You know, I've dealt with a gajillion companies, and I haven't seen that report regularly. That's usually something you maybe do on onboarding, but not really share with the client. So if you're that transparent, that's huge, because I'm like that too. I'd rather educate, because I feel like the more that the person knows what they're doing, the more they see your value. But not a lot of people are like that.
Well, I mean, you know, I told you before, our biggest things are honesty, transparency, authenticity. Authenticity, if you listen to a podcast that we had before, we wear fishing shirts, cowboy boots, you know, because we're not going to wear suits, because that's not who we are.
Right.
We're honest because, I mean, we just have ethics. I'm not going to lie to people. I'm going to give them money if it didn't work. And we're transparent. We show them exactly what keywords we're using, where you're getting clicks, where you're getting impressions, where you're getting conversions, you know, what your competition's doing, what's your best performing stuff. You know, not only do I send out reports every Friday and the first of every month, you can call me at any time and be like, hey, what's going on with our campaign? I'll be like, hey, I'm going to send you a link to a Google Meet, and I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go over it. Or you can come to my office, throw some darts, drink some root beer. You can drink beer if you want. I'm going to drink root beer. But, and just go over your stuff, because, yeah, I like to educate people. I nerd out on this stuff. I love to talk about it. And I want people to know what we're doing.
Right.
And, you know, because, like I said, I mean, the biggest thing is at the beginning, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish?
Right.
And that's based off your business goals and business objectives. If we go through your marketing goals and marketing objectives, that's what we should be hitting until you tell me, hey, let's make a switch.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's like, yeah, figuring out the cost per acquisition is important, because without that, you don't know if you're doing a good job or a bad job. It's subjective, right? So if you're backing into your ad spend and it's $500 a car and it's $5,000, then we know how many leads we should be expecting. And people don't really back into the math like that. So
yeah, I mean, I've shown you some of the reports.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to be like, here's how much profit you are making.
yeah,
Here's your revenue, here's your profit, here's your return.
right. I do the exact same thing.
So, I mean, I want them to know that, like, yeah, you might not see what I'm doing because it's an intangible thing, but, like, believe me, I'm working hard
yeah,
on your stuff. I might be fishing or duck hunting some days,
that's allowed.
but because I've made a change and, like, I'm waiting to get data.
Yeah,
So sometimes I need to go practice on how to acquire different fish. Just like I run different ads, I test different things. I might be trying out a rattling trap, then switch to a spinnerbait, then a Texas rig. Because guess what? What worked yesterday
right.
might not work today.
Yeah.
So if I was catching them, spinnerbaits, maybe rattling trap today. So
yeah, is there something that people can make too many changes at once without giving the data enough time to settle?
100%. Yeah.
Right. I think that's a problem a lot of people do, right? Is they make too many changes, then it's like, wait, what was good and what was bad?
Right. So when you like start a campaign, it goes into learning mode. It's trying to learn the algorithm. If you go in there and you change all types of bids and like bidding strategies and like daily spend and keywords and stuff like that, it's going to freak out and be like, I don't know what we're doing. I'm going to go back into learning mode. So then you're going to have 7 days where you don't have any impressions, any clicks, because it's trying to learn the algorithm.
Right.
And all the data that you have gathered doesn't matter for anything.
Yeah. Have you ever had somebody that wants to start a PPC campaign, but then they get too many leads and like, turn it off. And then it's like, I'm not getting any leads. Turn it on.
I've had somebody tell me that they couldn't afford it because they had to hire an assistant because they were getting so much stuff.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? Like, hire some people. Why don't you want to make money?
Um,
I used to have car guys that would do that, and then I'd be like, that's not a good practice to turn it on, turn it off, right? Because to your point, it starts that learning curve all over again. Like,
yeah,
you need to have
I
some
never turn it
consistency.
off as much as like I drop bids.
Right.
But you know, everything's so subjective. You know, every business is different. You know, I've had people be like, give me your pitch. Guess what? I don't have a pitch because I need to know about your business, these things.
Yeah.
Because I can't be effective doing what I do if I don't know what you're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't work with people that are like, well, we don't know what we're trying to do. Either let me help you, because if I don't have goals, I can't do a good job. And I'm not going to just be like, oh, let's spend money. Yeah.
What about somebody that has a business that has multiple verticals within the business? So let's say they do heating and air conditioning and plumbing. How would you figure out the allocation for those? Because to your point, you don't want to be spread too thin. Do you pick one? Do you look for the most profitable?
This is a common problem I have.
Yeah.
And I always say, let's pick 3. Tell me what you get the most volume of, what you have the highest margin on, and what do people ask for most?
Mm-hmm.
Because when we start doing this, you want to start getting ROI. And guess what? Once you're getting ROI, we can start expanding to different things.
Right.
But we have to make money first.
I feel like so many people try to be like, put so much stuff in. It's like 10 different things, and then people get to the
way too
website
much.
and they're confused.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
And
just
they're
pick a
bouncing.
couple things. And you know what? If you get them in and you get them on the, $99 deal to...
Or if they call you, you can explain it then.
Right.
Because the whole point of your website is to get them to reach out to you.
Right.
We've covered a lot today. And if there's something you want to know, be sure to leave a comment and like and subscribe so you can see more of these. I'm sure this is not the last time we've seen Christie on here. Thank you
not.
again for coming.
Yes, it's
and we
been
will
fun.
see you on the next Ask Me Anything.
I am a